so happy we alive.
Good evening and welcome to Louisville Late Night. I'm Patrick Moore, and this evening I have the pleasure of introducing you to the Howland neighborhood where my family grew up with me and where we've shared so many wonderful times. This is Windsor Place, which is about halfway between the Mid-City Mall and Eastern Parkway. This is Bellwood. This is Windsor Place down toward Tyler Park, and there's Bardstown Road right up at that part. And right here is 1800 Windsor Place. And here at 1800 Windsor Place is kind of like where we grew up. 5 kids, more kids, and my mom and dad. And this is our front yard here. I'm just going to take you right on in, introduce you to some of our family members that happen to be here with us today. Look at these flowers. You'd think we were in heaven. And speaking of heaven, we have the angelic ones right here with us. My brother, Tommy Moore, aka Father Christian, and my sister, Mary Ann Moore, aka
Hello.
Shams Moran.
Yeah, that's great.
And see, we even have a little angel right here on the porch. And oh look, here's another little angel right here behind the angel Mary Ann.
That's right.
And anyway, this is where we grew up. When did Mom and Dad, see, it's 1800. When did Mom and Dad move here, do you think?
I know exactly when they moved here because I went to Mount St. Francis, which is a boarding school seminary back in 1952, and they moved in about October, and I went away in about early September. And it's funny is because Mary Ann, Pat, and Freddie, and Mom and Dad, came into this house that was owned by a lady I think named Miss Bates.
That's right.
The place was just a mess. It had an old coal furnace downstairs. The middle floor was sagging, and Mom and Dad and Mary Ann, Pat, and Freddie, they just worked, and I was over at Mount St. Francis. Well, they
really fixed the house up.
Studying.
And Frank wasn't even in the picture. He didn't come into the picture until 1959. So the Moore family lived in this house, let's see, it would be 7 years before Frank was born. So, and there's so much story about this house that we can talk about, because one of the things about this house is that it's a big house and the best rooms are upstairs on the second floor. But Mother helped to pay for all of this, and really she didn't work outside the home, but she had men rooming in those rooms upstairs, and they helped keep the family going, and it made it possible to help us get to college and everything else, you know. But everybody was squashed down here, and we lived in the basement and on the first floor. And yeah, that's.
Well, Freddie had the attic bedroom, didn't he?
He had the attic. Freddie had his own room.
The attic is large, as you will see later, and it was divided into 2 sections. One was a bedroom that my oldest brother Freddie had. And he put in this huge blackboard, because he was a scientist. I mean, he was a genius his whole life. And he had this blackboard as big as that window in his room. And he lived in the attic, and the other part of the attic was just full of treasures. I mean, we had a wonderful time up there. Do you remember, Pat, when there were 2 big trunks up there? And I mean, trunks with real clothes that people had worn like, oh God, 150 years ago now. With white wigs and these long dresses. It was just too cool to play in the main part of the attic.
Didn't the sea captain used to own this house?
I don't know.
There were artifacts from all around the world that he had collected.
There were a lot
attic.
of strange treasures in the main part of the attic. The main part of the attic had no heat. It had a pine floor, and it was somewhat off limits because Mother kept everything stored up there. But there was the Freddie's bedroom in the main part of the attic.
And we'll see
Yeah,
that.
Right.
You'll see it soon, but it's all decorated now, and
Right.
it's all finished now. But it wasn't
Yeah.
at first.
You know, another kind of basic marker is that like Mary Ann and Tommy and Freddie all went to St. Bridget's grade school. And then when we moved over here, I went all 8 years to St.
St.
James.
James.
And Mary Ann, was you about third or fourth grade into St. James?
I think I was in the 5th grade.
Right, you went half and half.
I went half over at
And
half at St.
Freddie
Bridget's
and I were
and half up
completely
at
Bridget.
St. James.
You and Frank were completely St. James.
Yeah, Frank went all 8 years at St. James also, and Dad was a basketball coach there for a few years when Frank was there.
I want to mention something funny I remember in this porch. I don't know what year it was in. I'm going to just guess about 1959. We had a Italian nobleman, a boy, who escaped
Oh, yeah.
his family.
Dotto.
Dotto Vittadini. And he came here, and Mother had these roomers upstairs. And this porch has memories for me because Dotto, he came here and he was waiting for Mother to wait on him, for Mary Ann to wait on him, and he just came down and sat down and started waiting for people to do it because he lived in this castle over in.
Well, it wasn't a castle, but he does have a very wealthy family.
And he was just used to being waited on.
He was very used to being waited on.
And he had this real expensive car he drove. But
He
on
was
this porch
fun.
one day,
He was fun.
he was. I remember Mary Ann hosing him down. I forgot what the occasion was, but she was hosing something, and he hosed down Dotto.
Turn the water on Dotto, eh?
Yeah, but that's just one memory of this porch.
One memory I have of this porch is I was in, I don't know, I was in this rifle
Want me to hold it?
association. No, that's okay. It was something that was sponsored by the National Rifle Association, and somehow I'd gotten a sharpshooter certificate or something, and I'd watched too many cowboy movies. And anyway, I remember sitting on this ledge when
I saw this figure behind me, and I jumped.
Blessed Mother was a ghost. She was a burglar coming in to get you.
Now, what would you say, all the way up to probably about, these rooms were rented. All these rooms were rented. When did you move into this room
I
up here?
moved into this room about 1955. When I started high school, 1956, I got my own room.
Oh, you got your own room.
But the other two were rented.
Oh, these were rented.
All through
because
high school, they were rented.
This room
My
here.
high school and college.
Now, this room was supposed to be something Mom and Dad had always looked forward to having this when they got settled, and
They got all their debts paid, got the mortgage paid, got the children through
it's-
college.
this
They
was-
thought this would be their room.
I mean, it's really
But
nice.
they never moved up here.
Yeah, they
Oh.
never took advantage of it. They got that beautiful sun
Wait a
porch out
minute,
there.
who counted all those? I guess they're working out there or something.
Oh, they were trying. They were showing the bathroom there.
Well, let me go out to the sun porch here while we're here. In fact, if you can go outside, that'd be nice
Yeah,
too.
let me open it.
We have a beautiful porch here.
Oh, this is one of the really
It's
nice
really
features of
nice.
the house.
I'm
And
gonna show you the porch first.
I have spent many hours out here just sitting down. When you look out that way, now this branch has come down here, it's almost like being out in the country.
Yes,
can't
if you
see houses.
take your view that way,
It's,
instead of looking at all the houses.
these yards, it's just like you just look down there and you just see, it's like just
It's
looking
funny seeing that big banana tree next door. And there's that oak out there I was telling you about earlier. It's gigantic.
What's interesting here is when I was young, I used to always love castles. And I always thought that our house, being surrounded by this brick wall up from the alley, it's supposed to be about
Well, it's the